Most times, numbness and serious balance issues. I have a pain down, but I don't have it.
Ow.
Like she said, it's unpredictable, so you don't know how you're going to feel very down. So you need to keep like results of the final field past.
Okay, you're on the spot now.
Ready?
Like 13 coaches, I got this diagnosis. I'm doing good with it, though, but I be having periods. Sometimes I really have problems messing more with my eyesight sometimes. It's repeating. I'm trying to live with this.
Okay, put you on the spot next to everyone else there.
I have primary progressive MS, and I don't have like I'm 62, was diagnosed when I was 60, and the only thing that gave it away was the fact that I couldn't walk and have down again. So I kind of hold on to things, just hold on to things like that. Other than that, I have no pain, no other religion problems, nothing else. The best thing that I have done out of the house, well, I really didn't go out of the house for almost a year. Hardly ever go out of the house. But I started taking programs that the MS Society sponsored and taking hospitals and self-help groups. And it's really, really helped. I don't feel so alone anymore. I don't feel like I'm the only one that's dealing with this. And it's really good for me and other people that know what books are.
Yeah, that's actually a wonderful point. I forgot to mention that there are different types of MS. The majority of the people that are diagnosed with multiple sclerosis have what's called relapsing remitting. And that means that you feel pretty normal, and then you'll have an attack or an exacerbation, and then you'll hopefully come back to your normal level, but you might, have a little bit of disability that sticks around, and then you'll go along, and then you'll have another attack, and it kind of goes like that. To your comment about primary progressive MS, that is another type of multiple sclerosis where a person is diagnosed and they might experience symptoms and they just kind of stay. They kind of just stay with you and maybe get a little bit worse over time. There's also another type called secondary progressive MS, and then there's relapsing. Let's see, I guess it's oh man, this is a quiz. I should have studied. No, I'm just kidding. Primary progressive, secondary progressive, and then I think there's relapsing progressive. Yeah. So, but it just goes to show that even internal to one disease, there are different types. And then also to your point, quite a few people do experience that thought when, and actually I think it was Dina that said this, that the concern about waking up and having symptoms like vision loss or numbness on the side of your body, sometimes people do worry that they've had a stroke or that it's a brain tumor or something like that. Obviously, multiple sclerosis is also a very serious diagnosis, but it's not terminal. People will have a normal lifespan. So in a way, it can be a relief to get that diagnosis because maybe a person has experienced numbness off and on over time and just didn't know what it was. And so to finally get that diagnosis and know what's happening and to then be able to move forward with different treatments can be a relief at times. Because sometimes it does take quite a while.
I have another question. I see you got a variety of different ages. Is there like a certain age group?
That's a very good question. Typically, multiple sclerosis is diagnosed between the ages of 20 and 50, but that is not always the case. Obviously, you commented that you were diagnosed when you were 60. I've another gentleman I work with that's a self-help group leader in northern Indiana was diagnosed when he was 70.
So is that hereditary, or is it like?
From what we understand, it is there are genes internal, but then there's some environmental trigger. There's something in the environment that triggers those genes to activate. And that is the research that we're doing, is to find out what those environmental triggers are. For example, people closer to the equator have a much lower chance of being diagnosed with MS. The further away from the equator you are, like, northern United States, Canada, have a much higher rate of MS. Why is that? So we're doing studies into that, looking into vitamin D, because maybe people closer to the equator have more sun exposure, or they eat more fish, possibly. Then also, when women are pregnant, especially in the second and third trimester, they feel, if they have MS, they feel great. But then right after they give birth, typically they'll have an exacerbation. So there's some research studies being done now looking at the different hormone levels that are higher when a woman is pregnant, and if those could be used as treatments for women with MS. So there's a lot of different studies that are being done to find out what is that environmental trigger. And then also, in terms of diagnosing MS, we're being able to diagnose it better now because of an MRI. It's a magnetic resonance imaging machine. It's a test that's done at the hospital or doctor's office, typically hospitals. And that way they can take a picture of the brain and see on there what's called a lesion. And that's where you can see on the image where those nerves, that myelin, is being eaten away, and in what areas of the brain. Prior to the MRI test, it really was difficult. They would have to do spinal taps, which are painful and horrible, and then there would be other testing, and it would take some time to get that diagnosis. So yeah, we now are having even, unfortunately, some children being diagnosed with MS. We don't think it's that there's more MS out there. It's just that we are diagnosing it better because we have this MRI technology. So yes, the diagnosis can come in a range of ages, but it's typically between 20 and 50. 2/3 of those diagnosed with MS are women, 1/3 are men. And so I'm going to get back to the panel now, but definitely any more questions, don't hesitate to let us know.
I have a question here.
Oh, really? Question? Okay, yes.
Yeah, I have a question here. I had the opportunity to see an infant when I was in Nebraska at MS. And it was very difficult for the parent to go back and forth to the hospital, I think, every other day.
Okay. I apologize. I didn't hear the beginning of what you were saying.
I think they were from West Phyllis. And they have resided in Nebraska. So I had an opportunity to see an infant.
Oh, an infant that was diagnosed. Okay. Yeah, it is. We definitely, as the National MS Society, we are working to expand our programs for pediatric MS. And actually now there are some centers, I think that we now have 8 centers across the country where it's specifically for pediatric MS. So we're definitely doing research studies into that as well. And also, since the children obviously are younger, you can limit the amount of possible environmental triggers that they've been exposed to. So I think that is going to be helpful in the long run to help us figure it out. Because really it's a mystery, and it's frustrating that it's a mystery. There are times, identical twins, okay, so you've basically got the same genes, you probably grew up in the same household and played with the same toys and all that. It's only a 30% chance that both of them will have MS. It's a 60% or 70% chance that one of them will and the other won't. So that's just a mystery. It's really, that's why we raise funds to do research studies, because, we just got to figure this out.
So what are the percentages of
I do not know that. I don't know that figure, but I'd be happy to find out for you and get you that information. But here in Indiana, the majority of pediatric individuals with MS that I work with are typically, middle school, high school age. So, but yeah, I would be happy to look that up for you if you'd like. Any other questions from the audience? Well, I know we talked a little bit about health and wellness. Maybe we'll have a question about if there's anything that you do that you find to be very helpful. Good question. Okay.
So, from my recent experience when there's a diagnosis with MS, I'm seeing now that people are living longer, they're living better quality of life. So does that have to do with anything as far as like different medications that are being?
Very good question.
Are they starting therapy later where they have less side effects? Because I know a lot of the medication that they actually take, I was a pharmacist for Roche, and some of the medications they actually give to MS patients were causing a lot of the side effects as far as the treatment.
Right, right. The question was about medications for MS, and just to give a little summary to that, and then I'll get to where we are today, it really is amazing to think that 1993 was the first FDA-approved medication to treat multiple sclerosis. In reality, that's just not that long ago. And now we have 8. So in just a short amount of time, we now have 8 what we call a disease-modifying drug. A drug that treats multiple sclerosis and not just the symptoms that you're experiencing. As the National MS Society, we encourage individuals, as soon as they and their doctor have the conversation about it, to start on one of those disease-modifying drugs. Now, to your point, some of the early medications did have quite a few side effects. Typically flu-like symptoms. The majority, until just last year, all of those drugs were injectables. So similar to like insulin for diabetes, it would be that what's called subcutaneous, which is where it's right under the skin. And depending on the medicine, it might be once a day, it might be 3 times a week, that type of thing. But the side effects were flu-like symptoms, where people, after they gave their shot, would just be nauseous or just felt horrible, to your point. But as time has gone on and they've done more studies, they've been able to, I think, dial it in better in terms of the amount of medication, so you're not getting too much and therefore getting worse side effects. And then also, that's the benefit of having multiple choices of medications, is that if one drug did give you a lot of side effects, then you had an option to go to other medications. And then also there is a symptom management medication that would be more specific to a symptom that someone's experiencing and not just slowing the progression of the MS. Now, for those that are just really afraid of shots, last year the FDA did approve a pill form of a medication. It does have some side effects as well. Some people have experienced some of the nausea with that also. But overall, it's a wonderful alternative to people that just are afraid of shots and just can't give themselves a shot. Now, not everyone takes a disease-modifying drug, and that's obviously their personal choice. There's a lot of things that you can do, just, healthy eating, daily exercise, just, again, like I mentioned earlier, just being a healthy human to help with that. But the National MS Society, our stance is that since we do have a variety of disease-modifying drugs, that we would encourage people to utilize those if they and their doctor feel comfortable with that. Did I answer your question? Okay. Yes, those would be also considered autoimmune diseases. So the question was about lupus and fibromyalgia. Yes, those are considered autoimmune diseases, just like multiple sclerosis. Also Crohn's disease, which affects the digestive system, would be considered that as well. And unfortunately, there are cases of individuals that have multiple autoimmune diseases. So they might have MS and Crohn's, which is just not even fair, But I'm going to get our panel back into the talk here. I was thinking about maybe we could talk about other things that you do, if it's healthy eating or wellness activities. I know we talked about the importance of that exercise class. Other things that you have found to be helpful for your MS.
Is this my first time to start? I can't remember. The MS exercise class where I met these ladies and volunteered at the MS Society where I met Shekeli and put her on Team Frog. I'm sorry, y'all, I'm having a moment right now. I didn't.
We put her to work in the office anytime she lets me. And Shekeli.
Yes, we enjoy it. I'm that. In listening, when Heather was talking, she kept saying mystery, and Scooby-Doo all of a sudden came to me because I love Scooby-Doo. And now I know why. You know, the doctors tell me I'm a mystery now. So, and that's because I keep, all these weird things keep happening, and I'm not on any MS drug right now because I keep having weird side effects. And anyway, that's part of my team name. Frog, fully rely on God, that's what I do. So the doctors are really confused about what's happening with me. I mean, to go from a cancer diagnosis to an MS diagnosis, and God only knows what's hiding under that, but I'm giving it all to Him.
And you are on it?
Yes, I am, and I am on the water. I have started. Me in my mind, because I'm not, I know I can feel me kind of getting over being on the medication. I started out on Rebib, I kind of ended up manic from it, and then Copaxone, and I broke out in a weird reaction, had all other counter reactions, so now I'm not on any medication, but it's coming out of my body, and my sweetie over there helped me the other day. I was at Eagle Creek, that's the place where I kind of go and clear my mind, and my head off, and I'm just in that I have moments to where I love to laugh. Those who know me know I love to laugh, but for whatever reason, the emotional part that affects me, I'll start crying uncontrollably, and that has been happening a lot lately, and that really aggravates me, and I kind of like want to stay away from people, but with trying to put this fundraiser together, it was kind of hard to stay away from people because I just never know when I'm just going to start crying. I mean, one minute I could be laughing, next minute I'm crying. So anyway, that's enough about that. But yes, the healthy thing I'm doing, drinking the water, of course, and the MS exercise class, and walking. When I can, last year was the first year that I did the walk, and I actually learned as long as I take my time, walk slow, I don't have to use the cane. My leg, I deal with neuropathy in this leg because when the tumor was removed from my thigh, they cut a live nerve, so I have swelling and all of that going on, but like I said, as long as I take my time, I do good.
Oh, thank you. Just to explain a couple things that Phyllis had mentioned, that is a symptom of MS. It's got a funny name, the crying or laughing, the emotional response that is unexpected. It's called the pseudo-bulbar effect. Very weird word, but that is a symptom of MS as well, where sometimes you can't control your emotions as you would like. So that is, and there are medications to treat that in addition to just, having those outlets for emotion and having, friends and family to support you. That can be very helpful as well. Now the other comment I would make though is that I know that a lot of people don't want to use a cane or another assistive device, but I would encourage that because it's just for safety, but I know that it is a difficult decision to use a cane or something like that, but I'm going to take you to task and say you got to be safe. So anyway, I had to give her trouble about that. Does anyone else want to talk about kind of health and wellness or any other personal experience? Any questions from the audience? Yeah.
I just want to say to my family, my little entourage that came back there in the corner, they came up north, Michigan City, which is where I am originally from. It's something about me and this MS. I live here in Indy by myself. No family, Phyllis is my friend Karin back there, my friend Amber. And I just want to thank y'all for coming down here and supporting me with this. All because I do live here without any family. I just want to thank the MS Society for accepting me, Phyllis. I'm glad to see all of you guys. And I just want to kind of put that out on the microphone to my people.
What I have done is put together, what I try to do as a fundraiser for our team is do testimonies from, and hopefully these ladies and gentlemen will write a testimony for me to be included in this book. Because I ended up having to go outside of my team, even outside of Indianapolis. And I have about 25 testimonies in here, and it's titled Hallelujah Anyhow. And I'm selling it for $10, and all proceeds will go to the MS Society. I'm actually having to take orders only because, like I said, I would like these ladies to share something in the book as well. Again, it's $10, and I'll take orders if you feel that, you would like a copy.
And just so everyone knows, obviously, Phyllis has put together this awesome fundraiser. Where the money goes is always an important question. The Indiana State Chapter, we keep the majority of the money for programs and services here in the state of Indiana. And that would include supporting the self-help groups, training new self-help group leaders. And like I had mentioned earlier, those groups are throughout the state of Indiana. Then we also have educational seminars, both in person and over the phone. We actually have a monthly teleconference program, and it's every month it's a different topic, so that you can learn about what symptom management, a wide variety of things, just from the convenience of your home. And it's an 800 number, so it's no cost. Really, all the programs that we put on are at no cost to the participants, and that's very important to us. We also do public education, health fairs, professional education, knowing that the doctors need to learn about some of these new drugs and treatments, keeping them up to date on everything. We've got a financial assistance program to help individuals that might need durable medical equipment, respite care, transportation assistance, health and wellness if they were wanting to attend these exercise programs and couldn't afford the fees for it or wanted to go to a yoga class or something. So we really do have a wide variety of programs to assist all those affected by MS, those diagnosed with it, but then also friends and family. And then the other portion of the money goes to our national office for research efforts to find, obviously our main goal is to cure MS, and we will keep on fighting until, I joke, that we'll put ourselves out of business, hopefully. So that's where the money goes of all the things that Phyllis does for her team and the other fundraising events that we host. That's where the money goes. So, does anyone want to talk about maybe how many years you participated in the MS Walk and your thoughts on the walk? Two? Done one? Okay. I also have a team too, so I'm not competing with you, Phyllis, but Team Donegan is pretty awesome too. So, anyone want to talk about the walk? Kind of what it's like?
Yeah, it was my first time last year, and I did not have a walk with a cane. You cannot do that. My husband did that. He did the walk, but this year I'm going to have a scooter. So.
Everybody pray for good weather. I didn't do it last year, but I've done it years when it's freezing cold. I've done it years when it's raining. So pray for good weather.
Yeah. There was 1 year it snowed. There's 1 year it snowed for the walk. So thank goodness. And it is the last Saturday in April. Years ago, the bad snow year, MS Awareness Week is actually in the month of March. It was just 2 weeks ago. And we used to have the walk during MS Awareness Week to, promote MS awareness. Well, after that snowy year, we said no. So we went to the last Saturday in April, and it'll be downtown in Military Park. And really, the walk is actually optional. It's such a fun get-together, just fun, fellowship, food. A lot of information, we'll have information booths and things like that. Some of the vendors will be there showing off their wares as well. So really, it's a fun time, and if you choose to walk, there is a 1 mile or a 3 mile route.
Last year was my first year actually having a team. I went to, once I found out the MS Society was right here in Indianapolis, I went to it. And the thing about me going, I was manic during the time, but they didn't know it. And Christine, the lady who was here earlier, she is actually the one who asked me if I was going to have a team in the walk. And I was like, huh? And when she said, you can name it anything you want to, I said, what, I can name it frog? And she said, yeah. So I was like, okay, I got Team Frog. And like I said, these ladies was in my exercise plan, so they joined my team. And this is, yes, did the walk and everything, like I said, manic, so much happened. And it's in the book. It's in the book. But, yeah, I'm sorry. I just had to share that.
She rocks it. It's amazing. It's only she's second year. She is so organized. It's like you've been doing this forever. So we're so thankful for you. It's great. Yes, and our office is located here in Indianapolis, but we do serve the whole state. But certainly keep that in mind that if anybody wants to come into the office to talk with me or get information, we'd be happy to see you. We're up in the pyramids, or Pyramid 1 on the 4th floor. But do you think ask a couple more questions? Right here. Well, I would just like to thank the panel, unless there's any other questions.
Can you record some of this for me? My arm's getting a little tired.
But I would just like to thank the panel for sharing your personal story today, and for Phyllis for organizing this.